Hi, I'm Jeff Bell from Startup Hub, free educational project by TemplateMonster. Welcome to a free webinar with Stephen Gilbert, Managing Director at Anchour. We're talking about how to build a profitable business online from scratch, and it's basically going to be like online entrepreneurship 101. Stephen is the branding director of managing director of the branding agency. So, hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. It's such a thrill to have you because, as I was telling you before, I'm a huge fan. I've been reading your guides ever since I worked in support here. So your guides helped me support a lot of people. So it's really a pleasure to have you here. So let's dive right to it. Can you tell us about your entrepreneurial journey to Anchour?
Yeah, so maybe similar to a lot of other entrepreneurs, I was young, didn't know a whole lot about really anything, especially business-wise. And I had one job before Anchour, and I was just a web designer at a small local firm. But I grew up loving to build things. So whether it was websites for friends or personal things, or building things in video games or whatever it was always a lot of fun to build things. And as a college student, I freelanced a lot. So I found friends and family and local business owners that needed stuff, and I'd help them out with that, whether it was a website or a logo, print collateral. Then obviously got the job at the small web firm and stayed there for a couple of years, and the itch kind of grew a little too strong and wanted to make a bigger impact. So that's when Anchour came around and kind of started that as a full service branding firm. And that's been my path. And so I am pretty young. I still don't know a whole lot, but it's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, if you started your own business when you were young and with hardly any experience in managing and building up projects, can you tell us about the pitfalls and traps that young entrepreneurs fall into most often, and that you maybe fell into yourself, and that you can warn about young, striving entrepreneurs?
Yeah, sure. So I think one thing that people might forget, especially in startup culture, especially in Silicon Valley, is you don't always need an investor. So you don't always need somebody to fund your business. We were fortunate enough to have an investor in Anchour, and it was great. But I've started businesses with and without investment, and really the success rate depends more on the person that's actually running the business than it does on the money that you have at the beginning. So how driven is that person? How good is the idea? How willing are they to take that idea the distance? And how willing are they to change? So sometimes if you have an investor, you can take that for granted and think that just because you have money, you'll be successful automatically. So really learned that early on, because I was fortunate enough to have an investor, that you can't get comfortable when you have money. So money and investment just gives you the ability to buy stuff and pay your salary. But it also makes it a lot more painful if you fail, because you've spent all that money and it's gone to waste. So that was very educating for me.
I see. But in your experience, do investors try to change things? Do you, for example, if you have like a conflict with an investor, he wants you to do the thing one way and you want to do it another way? For example, Anchour, did it wind up to be the project that you imagined it to be in the very beginning?
Yeah, it's actually a lot different. And that's the thing with startups, is being willing to change, because the idea you may have initially may not be exactly what's right and what the marketplace needs. So Anchour's a lot different than what we thought it would be when we started, but it's also a lot better. So having an investor, depending on the investor, they may want to run things their way, and you're kind of just a catalyst for making that happen, and you're the boots on the ground. And other times it's the investor sees potential in your idea, which is kind of the case for us. Is we had an investor that saw potential in what we were doing and wanted to just help fund that along and help it grow. So really, it depends. It's totally case by case.
Sure. So what are the key players every small business or the company like yours needs from the very beginning, like the people who are essential for running a company? Yeah.
It depends on the type of business, whether it's a service or a product or both.
Yeah, let's take them one by one.
Yeah. So if you're selling, let's just say you're selling products and you start, a lot of people that sell products, they'll sell strictly on Amazon when they begin their business. And if that's the case, you don't need a development team. You don't need web design. Really, you need customer support. You need people taking care of the product. You need search engine optimization and branding and product photography. And you need somebody that's kind of a visionary of the business, where if you expand outside of Amazon, you either need somebody in-house that's great at web development, or you need a great firm to partner with. So you almost always need somebody with excellent sales and networking abilities, that they have the ability to help scale your business and grow it. So people, those are really important. And then really the people that are producing. So for Anchour, it's having great designers and developers on staff. So you need somebody that you can rely on. And thankfully we have an awesome web developer and an awesome designer that really help take things the distance.
Yeah. And okay. So what's the very first thing you need to decide? Well, you're a young person, a young aspiring man thinks, I want to start an online business. What's the very first thing he needs to take care of? What's the very first thing he has to think through?
Yep. So I think with business in general, it's figuring out exactly what you're doing and why your business needs to exist. So as an individual, if you're looking to start up a business, in order to be successful and to be satisfied, you need to be doing business with purpose and having meaning behind what you're doing. So anyone can, like I said, Amazon. Anyone could start an Amazon business and private label and sell products and probably be successful if they work hard at it and they're smart and all that. But in order to do business that you really love, ideally you're passionate about it and you love what you're doing. So that's the most important thing. Figure out what you love, figure out how to monetize it, and then also figure out what makes you different than everyone else that's doing that. Because I mean, every market out there is pretty saturated, whether you're a design firm or you're selling a product or selling athletic gear. There's plenty of other people doing it. So what makes you different? And figuring that out before you do anything is really important. So before you come up with a name, figure out why, and then figure out how you're going to do it, and then really figure out what that is exactly. So yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned niches like marketing and design. They're really competitive right now. And how do you get your work? How do you get the traction? The first one? How do you let the world know you exist if there is no way you can rank on the first page for anything? And what are the ways? Because I know you have this website where you just posted your guides that you used, and they became widely successful among web developers and people who just look for stuff. So what are the ways?
Yeah. As far as that guide goes, I think I got really lucky. I don't know how that happened. Kind of created it for myself, and then it just appeared on Google, and before I knew it, it was getting 2,000 page views a day. But as far as getting traction as a business, I think it's really, first of all, doing great work. So if you have great work, that speaks for itself. People aren't necessarily going to find you from that, but if you're doing great work for people and great people and building relationships with them, you'll really allow your business to grow. So if you're doing services, it's hunting people down that really need what you're doing, and whether that's working for free, using your existing network, or providing services at a highly discounted rate. You need people to try what you're doing and learn from it. So kind of get that feedback loop going, and get experience, grow your network, and just continue to learn. And then before you know it, you'll have more work and more sales and just a wider audience. So it takes a lot of work. That's really what it comes down to, is put the time in, and you'll succeed if you're smart and you're doing things right. So
yeah, but for example, how do you say it? How do you find your first clients? How do you find this first person that is going to give you money? Because you know, like you don't have the experience, you don't have the portfolio maybe yet, and how do you find them, and how do you convince them that you're the guy?
Yeah. So I think a couple of questions ago, you asked, like, what are the key tools, and having somebody. Yeah. So having a people person, having somebody that can talk to a business owner and say, hey, we can really help you here, and what you need is this, and here's why, and we can do it for you. And actually, we started doing it already. Check it out. Here's a mock-up of your website, and whatever, we'll do it for free. We'll do it for highly discounted rates, or whatever it might be. Doing that allows you to get your first client. And then if they're happy and you do great work, they're going to tell people. At this point in our business, almost all of our work it's inbound. We're not going and knocking on doors. People either see the work we've done, or they're finding us through search engines for whatever reason, or it's just clients saying, hey, we had a great experience with Anchour and we think you will too, so talk to them. And then we get a lead from that. So it's really just having that initial relationship building with the people that will eventually be your customers.
Regarding the relationship building, how do you keep these relationship up when you have, like, I don't know, 1,000 people in your email list? How do you interact with them? What are the best ways that you maybe use, and how to keep them, I don't know, engaged, and remembering about you each time they need the service you provide?
It's a lot of work, but it's actually just it's like normal life. How do you maintain relationships with your friends? And if you treat your clients as people and not as dollar signs, that's really when we see success, at least. So whether that's visiting their shops and just filling them in on what's new, or asking them about their lives, or sending an email to check in, or checking out their website and saying, hey, I really liked your blog post and here are a couple ideas, or hey, we tweaked a couple things with your meta descriptions on your website so it's a little more SEO friendly, or whatever it is. Things like that really make a difference in keeping happy clients.
Right. And what's your take on, I don't know, on ads in Google, on Facebook, I don't know, in Instagram, on social, promoting on social, as I said, and is it as good as word of mouth that you mentioned before for getting your first customers,
I think, well, nothing's as good as word of mouth. Nothing's as good as a referral, because that's somebody telling somebody else that they had great work. And that's really, you turn somebody from a very cold lead to a warm lead that already is beginning to trust you. So nothing can beat that. But Facebook works well, Google works well. There's a reason that they make as much revenue as they do as a business, and it's because they've figured out how to target people specifically. And however you may feel about Facebook or Google, they can really narrow down who you're targeting with your specific ads. And people, especially our clients, we have a lot of clients that we manage their ads, and they see a lot of success from that. So it works. It really depends on the business, depends on what you're selling, and it does work though. How do you know if, I know that, as you told me, as you told us, you started the business when you were really young. How do you know, what's the feeling that
makes you sure that you're ready? Because there's always this, I don't know, you're uncertain, you're not sure that you're gonna make it. And how long should you try till you understand that this business has failed and you should start another one? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I think it's having people in your life that you look up to. That's really important. When knowing whether you're succeeding or failing, asking them, is your idea working? And at the end of the day, I think the response from potential customers and customers really can paint that picture for you. But giving up is always a bad idea. You can change, you can pivot as a business. You know, you can start off, there are so many different businesses out there that started off as one thing and they're something totally different now. So whether that's changing your name or whatever you need to do to make it work, do it. But giving up is, I don't know, I just think it's a terrible idea always. So anyone can succeed at this if you do work you love and you stay focused and you're willing to change and listen to people, listen to solid advice and find people that can give that solid advice and go from there.
Can you tell us on the good matter, can you tell us about, not about the failures, about one or two success stories when branding, when marketing worked even better than you expected in Anchour, and how did it go?
Yeah. Gosh, let me pull up a client list. I think it's funny because when you think about branding, and you've run a business for a long time, which a lot of our clients have, and they think they're ready to make a big change. It's always scary. So changing not only your website, but let's say you're a brick and mortar building and you're changing your signage and all your print collateral, and it's a totally different look and feel. Sometimes even changing your name. That's a huge deal. And for us, the success story, when we're looking from the outside in, it's easy for us to see that, wow, this is so much better and this is going to make a positive impact on their business. Almost always. If a business doesn't touch their brand in 15 to 20 years and it wasn't designed by a professional, almost right off the bat, we know we can have a huge impact there and really impact their bottom line. So a success story for us is when somebody comes to us and they think they need change and we know they do. And we can take them through the entire process, guiding them along the way. And at the end of it, they're really happy with the result. We know the result's going to be great. But the success for us is when a business actually goes through with this full launch and they drastically improve their brand and they recognize that it's much better. Because really, the bottom line is when you're doing services and dealing with businesses, you're dealing with business owners' babies. These are the things that they love. This is what they spend all their time working on. So for us, the success is actually having them understand the value of what they just did for their business and then seeing the result of that. So that happens with a lot of different clients, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
It probably can be hard to convince them, like, that this thing will be good for your business, and because, like you said, it's their babies, and that must take a lot of people too.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big challenge with what we do. So it's funny, you can see firms similar to us that if they have great people, they can go really far, even if the work isn't great. So for us, we try to have excellent work and have a lot of passion and focus behind it. And then also have the client management side of things where we're building relationships with people so that they really trust what we're doing. And then the work at the end is super high quality.
Mm-hmm. So what if a person, they just start their business, they're just getting started, getting things off the ground. How do they improve their branding game? What are like the branding mistakes small business owners or first-time website owners make most often, and how to correct them?
Well, it's funny because it could fall on either side of the spectrum, but it's either spending way too much money on your website or way too little and not investing anything in it. So the people that spend too much, it's when somebody thinks they have an idea that'll work. Like I said, not all ideas are going to work, and you have to be willing to change. So if you invest thousands and thousands of dollars into an idea thinking it's going to work, but you have no proof of that, that can be pretty tragic, and can really kind of smother any growth as a business. So don't invest too much right away in your website if you don't know your idea is going to work. So test beforehand. And then on the other side of the spectrum, it's spending way too little on your website and branding, and having really an identity as a business where people don't know you exist, they don't know anything about you, or when they do find you, they're not impressed by the results because you didn't put much time and attention into your brand as a whole. And then that's kind of a turnoff, especially, well, for us, if we were a branding company and we didn't pay attention, then what are we going to do with our clients?
So yeah. And what other tools, maybe what other places that person can learn branding, like the essentials themselves to, you need to grow your business first to make some money to hire branding professionals like you guys. So yeah. So
if you don't have investment, I think with a limited budget, there are so many tools out there and so many resources to have somebody design a logo for you on the cheap. And services like Fiverr, you're not going to get the highest quality work ever. At least I think. I haven't used Fiverr. We haven't needed to, but
that would be a strange branding agency that goes in Fiverr.
So maybe Fiverr is great. I don't know, but
yeah.
Using a service like that, if you have $500 and you need to get a logo and a website put together, that's not the worst thing in the world to do that. Get something up, get something so people see you, and use something. If you're doing e-commerce, invest in something like a premium Shopify theme, or Squarespace, or a WordPress website with like a high quality TemplateMonster theme. Something, just get your business started that way and see if it works first, and kind of build as you go. There's the book, The Lean Startup, that talks about the minimum viable product, and that's really just putting in the least amount of investment into your business and your product before you know it works. So releasing your beta version of your website, and really just growing your business as you grow in knowledge and capabilities and all of that. So basically just don't invest everything before you know it's going to work or not.
Yeah, also, when is this point, if you don't have an investor, how do you know, and you start out as a solopreneur, and how do you know that you need to hire someone? You need to risk your money, the very few, I don't know, dollars that you make, and you need to hire someone else and give this money to them because
that's always nerve-wracking. The first hire, the second hire, really every hire, it's like, should I be doing this? Is this the right? So those are questions that I think every entrepreneur, it's tough to give an answer to, but the bottom line is really telling. So what you're making as a business, do you have money to hire somebody? Are your projections showing that you will have money to hire somebody? Is there too much work for you to do yourself, or is there a totally different skill set that you just don't have? And if you do have somebody with that skill set, will they make the impact in your business? And for me, it was going back to the people. The director of operations at Anchour, he's been so helpful in growing the business. And that's something that he's such a people person. He loves people and really has that ability to build relationships with them far beyond what I could do. So that's something where we knew we needed that, and we knew we needed to make that hire. And the same goes for web development. That's something that while I worked as a developer and a designer, I was kind of hitting my ceiling with running the business, and then also designing and building websites. It just couldn't do it. So at that point, we had just enough money to make it happen. And sometimes you have to take a risk and say, I'm going to have to go a few months without pay just to make this happen, but it's going to pay off in the long run. And a lot of times it does, and a lot of times it doesn't.
Yeah. What digital marketing strategies do you recommend and proved to work best for you?
Yeah.
Like SEO, I don't know, SMM, email marketing, what works best?
Yeah. For us, it's been finding keywords that we can actually make an impact on. So we're never going to rank #1 for website design in the world. I mean, we're just not going to. So we need to understand that and call a spade, I guess, and realize like there are other keywords out there that people are searching that we can actually rank #1 for. So for us, organic was huge, because if we can rank high in organic search results, that means we spend less long term, because we're not having to rely on AdWords or Facebook, and those aren't bad, but we really wanted to focus on organic results. So we focused a lot on the word branding. So a lot of people, I guess, to branding, it means something different. So for us, branding is the experience that somebody has with your business. So we wanted to rank #1 for that, whether they were looking for website design or development or logo design or print collateral. All of it has an impact on your brand and your branding. So for us, ranking #1 for branding main was important. So on-site SEO and acquiring backlinks to really help that's what we did. And now we rank #1 for branding in main, and branding in other places as well. And now we're able to actually get inbound leads. We get leads every day for potential really cool jobs and really awesome opportunities with great people because of that. And we're always trying to rank higher for other keywords as well. But that was our strategy, just finding keywords that are not super competitive, using something like Google's Keyword Planner and a bunch of other digital marketing tools to really figure out what we could impact and then go from there. So for us, it was all inbound, all organic. That's what we've been trying to really do.
So social, email marketing, not so much.
For us, no. And maybe that's one of our next hires, is figuring somebody that can do that. Right now, we're so bad at social media for ourselves.
I saw your Instagram. It does pretty good. So because
when we post, we do okay, but we probably post like twice all year, and it's terrible.
So people sit there.
There's room for improvement.
Yeah. Right. So there's always this first client, this first person that comes from you, for example, from search, and you know that you don't want to have business with them. How did you ever have to turn down the client, and what are the reasons maybe for that?
Yeah, a lot of our work, really every client we take on, it's all about fit. So it's making sure that we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us. And it's usually pretty easy to tell with both parties whether we can accomplish what they want. So yeah, sometimes there'll be a lead where it's like, maybe it comes down to budget. And for instance, it could be a business that's just starting up and they say, I have $500 and I want to have a website and a logo and a video and digital marketing. And it's like, hey, actually, you should check out one of these websites. They could get it done for a lot cheaper. And ultimately, if we care about people and we care about, even if they're not our clients, if we exist to help them, then that's really what matters. So that happens pretty often, and we're more than happy to do that. We just want to help businesses grow. That's kind of why we exist. So even if they're not paying us money, we want to send them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and this person that doesn't have that much money, most probably they'd need to manage their website themselves in the beginning. What are the web design essentials that people struggle with most, and how do you learn them? That people need to manage their website, the most essential things, like HTML or whatever. Yeah.
Well, thankfully it's 2016, so there's a lot of great resources out there, whether it's Squarespace or WordPress, that really allow business owners to create pretty good websites without knowing any HTML. So if you're not a web development company and you're not doing web development, but you own a business, you shouldn't need to know a whole lot. At least if you're doing things right. So, you know, if you install a great theme, all you're doing is writing copy and adding pages, and that's really just navigating a content management system, hopefully. So
Yeah.
it changes depending on the business, but hopefully that's all it is.
What, in your opinion, makes a good website? Like a generic question, but I ask that to everyone.
Yeah.
And your take.
A great user experience, definitely. So simplicity is important. Engaging copy and visuals, video content, and really a clear idea of what the website is or what the business is and what the ultimate, like, why are you there? What's the point of being on this website? If it's not communicating that, it's not a good website. So it should kind of be telling a story along the way, just simple and engaging.
Yeah. User experience, but how does maybe a person hears these words, user experience, for the first time? How do you know? How do you check if your site is good in terms of user experience? And what is the number one lesson that first-time website owner needs to learn in terms of user experience?
Well, I think a couple big things for user experience is performance. So website needs to load fast. So don't upload photos that are 10 megabytes and have them on your landing page. That's a big one. And mobile friendly. With the percentages of mobile traffic and tablet traffic, it needs to be responsive. So those are two really obvious first things, is have your website perform well. And there are tools out there, whether it's Pingdom or HubSpot's Grader tool, or there are a whole bunch that really can tell you how well the experience of your website is and the performance. And then it's just having people use it. So is it enjoyable to use? Are people converting, and are they doing what you want them to do? Or are they bouncing right away and landing on your site and then just leaving? So those are signs on having a good or terrible website.
Yeah. So do you recommend concentrating in your business on one thing that you do best, or on bigger number of things that to make your reach bigger, to have more clients? And well, like Anchour does, you do all kinds of things. You do branding, you do web design. Yeah. So what's your take on that?
Focus on the one thing you do best. So for Anchour, we do a lot. As a business, we have multiple different services, but the one thing we're doing is building brands, and we want to focus on that. If we're building a website that doesn't have an impact on a brand, and we're not building a brand from it, then that's outside of what we do as a business. So for us, it spans multiple different categories of services, but we have one unified strategy and one unified reason for why we do what we do, and that's ultimately what matters. So it's important to just stay focused and figure out what you do best. If you're doing something and you're not the best at it, then that's really when problems arise. And trying to do too much and broaden your reach just to do more so that you can get more people, that's not an effective strategy. It needs to line up with your vision and strategy as a company overall.
About the UX once again, how do you understand what's the thing that is wrong with your website? You go into Google Analytics every morning and you see this graph going down. How do you know what's the matter? Why the bounce rate so high? What happened there? How do you test this? What are the ways to find the thing and fix it?
Really, some of the first steps would be using something like Pingdom or HubSpot and test things out. So see how large your website is, what's the size, what's the response time of the server, and then overall weight, like what are images and things like that. So those are kind of the basic performance ones that if people are waiting 10 seconds to see your landing page, they're going to bounce right away every single time. So fix those things first. And then once you have a solid performing website, then there are a lot of things like copy So are you writing engaging copy? Do you have any photos? And if you do, are they decent? Are they low resolution? And then why does your website exist? Are you getting the right people on your website, or are there people that are just not interested at all in what you're doing? Are you advertising something totally irrelevant to them, and they land on your website and realize it's not what they were looking for, so then they bounce and go somewhere else? So those are some of the first things that we would look at, and then dive in deeper as we go.
Yeah. Do you think online business and entrepreneurship in general, is it for everyone? Can everyone build their own business, or are there some people that are just not born for that, and they just have to sit in the offices till they're 65 or something? So
well, not everyone's doing it, so I don't think it's for everyone.
Because they lack courage. They lack courage. People like you don't tell them that you can do it. You're good.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think everyone can do it. Everyone has that ability. It's just a matter of taking that risk, taking that next step, and also wanting to do it. Maybe it's not for them. Maybe I know a lot of people just, I guess, careers aren't as important to them as they are to other people. So spending time with family, or just not working. Some people just don't want to take that huge risk and have a very unstable financial life, or do anything like that. And that's totally fine. So it's really just whoever wants to make a bigger impact in the world professionally and take a risk and work really hard and make a difference. So it could be for everybody. It's just a matter of if somebody is doing something they love, and if business is one of those things, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So what are the, I don't know, 3 main traits of character you need to become an entrepreneur or online business owner?
Yeah. Well, I think it's having drive and passion, and being able to be a self-starter. So do things without being told you have to, just understanding that there's a problem, and then being able to solve the problem. So it's problem-solving skills are huge in running a business. And really, if you're the only one in it, you kind of have to be a jack of all trades when starting, until you can afford to hire people that are way better than you, or until you find people that want to take a risk with you. Then really, for a while, you're doing everything and doing it all by yourself, and that can be a lot of fun, or it can be really painful, depending on who you are.
I see. So that's all the questions I have, but we have several from the audience. Carla asks, what's your take on affiliate marketing? Do you recommend it for people who want to build their online business? Well, you mentioned it with with Amazon, but still.
Yeah. I don't have a whole lot of experience with affiliate marketing, so I'm probably not the best person to ask, but I guess it always depends on the need of the business and what you're looking to do. So affiliate marketing can work. It has worked for some people. I haven't really done any form of affiliate marketing myself, so I'm not the best person to answer that question, unfortunately.
Well, that's not too bad. James asks, which marketing strategy brings most customers for an online business? Well, which I don't know, investment in which marketing strategy brings most results?
Yep.
Returns investment.
For services, I would definitely say inbound, and somehow getting word of mouth. So that's really just doing great work. It's not a crazy strategy, but it's worked so well for us. And for products, again, it goes back to search engine optimization. If you're on Amazon, not everyone's doing Amazon, but I know so many people that are, and that comes down to search engine optimization as well. And there's so many tools out there for that. And for products in general, Facebook seems to be working really, really well for a lot of our clients. Email marketing, if you have a list, email marketing is so effective when selling products. It's a little tougher with services because if you provided a service once, typically people don't need it right after. So we wouldn't be
hopefully
marketing,
it wasn't a service.
yeah. So we wouldn't be asking people, like, marketing our web development services right after we built somebody a website and we have them on our marketing list. But for products, it works really well. Even, I mean, if it's in your brand and business strategy, offering discounts through email can work well, as long as you're not sending them every other day. Like, I'm sure a lot of people that are on this call are watching, but yeah, that happens a lot. And it's really just communicating with your audience in a way that makes a real difference, that it's meaningful. So email, Facebook, and those are the big ones for products.
I see. That's all the questions we have today, but can you wish something to our viewers as a farewell for those who strive to build their own business? Yeah.
Do work you love, stay focused, but be willing to change, and don't give up. And I think another thing is read books. Anybody can do what I'm doing. Anybody can be an entrepreneur. It's just a matter of putting the work in and being willing to learn and grow. And it's a lot of fun. So,
right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Bell from Startup Hub, and my guest today was Steven Gilbert from Anchour. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for sharing all this value, and go check out Anchour. And yeah, bye. See you in the next one.
Thank you.
Bye.